So last week I was talking about historical home prices because I think it was be really valuable for people to get just a refresher. I know we've talked about in the past, but a refresher of historical price data, because everyone is really concerned about the huge spike and there's going to be a crash coming, and when are things going to level out and so on. Like we're facing questions about this almost daily, and I'm sure you're dealing with it hourly, Greg. So we wanted to bring up kind of the historical prices in Ottawa, at least. And I understand not everyone listening is in the Ottawa area, but I mean, you are able to find this data for your demographic as well, your area, but this is just specific to Ottawa. But Stephen, if you want to bring that up, maybe we can just start way back in 1956 and see where things have gone. And this is actually including condos. So 1956, just doing the math here, so 66 years ago. The average home price was $13,351. And maybe, I don't know, it might be, I mean, I'm not going to go through every single year because that'll be a little redundant, I think, after a while, but maybe we can just go every 5 years. What do you guys think? How fast should we accelerate this data?
Yeah,
if anyone's watching, you can see it, but
sure.
For those listening. So 1961, 16,000, 1966, 18,000. 1971, just can't see it.
28,000.
There we go. 27,800. 1976, 54,000. So we're getting some bumps here. 1981, shout outs to the 80s, 64,800. 1986, 111,000. So a nice little bump there. 1991, 143,000. 96, 140,000, 2001, 175,000, 2006, 255,000, 2011, 343,000, 2016, 371, 2021, 719,000. So basically a doubling of home prices in the last 5 years.
Now I do want to, as you were scrolling through, and those that can see that are viewing the image as well, though. So the last 2 years obviously are huge jumps. Mm-hmm. But if you scroll back, there are a number of years where they're double-digit growth. You know, and within, you know, you're getting 14 and 10% in 2000 and
there you go, 20 years ago.
Yeah. You know, in other years where you're 9%, 8%, 21% in 1983. 18% in 1984. So, you know, it's not 25, 21, 10 in 72 to 74. Yeah. And then 3 years prior, 19 and 10% and 68, 69. So, you know, everyone talking about this being such a rarity in the market, it's just not factual. Historically it's happened. It's just that we're dealing in larger dollar figures now, as opposed to in the teens or 20s or 50s, where it doesn't seem nowadays. But back then, people were definitely like, well, my house just went from 50,000 to 70,000 as the average price. That's a huge jump. And people would be talking about it back then in the same manner. We don't think about that the same, because a $40,000 bump, we're like, well, that's, what the hell is that these days? But it is, this has historically happened. And these past couple of years are not a rarity.
And also, if you looking at that, another interesting stat is that there wasn't 1 year, I don't think, of a negative.
There's a couple. Yeah, there's a couple
significant.
Negatives. Like 94 to 96, but it's like 2.9% in 95. I mean, then it ramps back up. You know, you're back even in a couple of years. It's like nothing.
Yeah, I think it goes to show that it, you know, in that historical, you're getting bumps for 2 to 3 years. Then it's dropping back down to the low one, you know, single digits, and maintaining that for a few years. And we're very likely going to see that, you know, and Greg, you talked about it last week, I think, of, you know, seeing prices leveling off a bit. I think with those that have been following the interest rates, not only bank prime has come up a quarter point, and they're going to likely make, you know, continuous more increases, but fixed rates have skyrocketed over the last month. And they are back to pre-pandemic January of 2020 numbers, you know, 3.5% kind of as the average for 5-year fixed across the major banks. You know, they've come up dramatically. And so I think that will have an impact to the activity in the market. I think that'll slow down people refinancing and leveraging those to buy investment properties, which we've talked about it in the past. But those that are needing homes or relocating and things like that, that's not going to stop them. But this interest rate coming up could certainly slow that down. But historically, you look at those numbers, it's 2-3 years, levels off, maybe a few years later, bumps again into the double digits. So it's very likely we're, seeing that cyclical market again. And I know, Paul, you were looking at the S&P even, right?
Yeah. So that's actually, I was just doing the math here for an investment. So Stephen, if you have the S&P and kind of the market data there too. So using that average home price in 2000 of $159,000, if you took $160,000 cash, invested it into any of the major markets, whether it be the Dow, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, any market that we would invest in here in North America, you can see that starting in 2000, again, I apologize for anyone who's just listening, but basically if you started in 2000, your return as of today would be somewhere between 172 to 188%. So if you had invested 160,000 in 2000 into these markets, your money today would be worth just shy of 300,000. Whereas if you bought a home cash, 160,000 in 2000, it would now be worth 720,000. So you'd have an extra, $430,000 almost by investing in real estate. Now, again, not saying that real estate is foolproof, but in Ottawa, the market is such that it's insulated. And also, there is value. And I mean, I know we talk about this all the time, but you're investing in a brick and mortar, it's an actual physical structure that people are going to need. Like human beings are always going to need shelter. We're always going to need food, at least for the foreseeable future. Food might be optional, but definitely we're going to need shelter. And you're investing in brick and mortar and an actual physical, tangible thing, right? If you're investing in the market, you're investing in a company, those companies could be bankrupt tomorrow. I mean, everyone who grew up in Ottawa, we all know about Nortel and what happened there. Technology, businesses, the car industry, everything shifts over, they're all cyclical, right? They all shift over time. Brick and mortar, an actual investment in a home, is something that is going to be there, right? People are going to need shelter. They might not need an Apple computer again or a Tesla, but they will need a home.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe because we'd really like that.